Hi guys. So let me introduce first of all Galan. I'm not sure if you all see him.
Hello, if you can see me.
If you can see him, he's there. If you don't have video, then then Galan is here with us just for audio.
Yes.
And just to confirm, this is Martin and Irena, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We have. It was short notice.
I'm not using video, but
No, that's fine.
No, that's okay. Don't worry.
That's fine. We're making a short video recording, also for the record, for all the other participants that will join us in the project, but they couldn't join us through the webinar on a given time and date, and it's virtually impossible to find one common one. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to be rather brief today, just to outline again and say what we want to do with this project, and to hear your questions, Martin, Irena, whoever might be joining on the way, and then we will summarize that also in the email, and we'll start working pretty much individually, but we'll keep the group growing. Hopefully it will grow in the near future, even above the number that we already have, and that is...
We have 17 right now already kind of confirmed, so it's a good number. There's a little noise. Sorry. Okay. Yes, we already have 17 kind of confirmed participants, which is great. So we're really excited about that. But the number will grow. My guess would be even another 10 to 13, perhaps, even by then. So quite a few.
And overall, these are authors from Visegrad group, but not only. Altogether, we expect to have about 50 authors in the scope of the whole project. And those who cannot make it now in the first stage, they will be added consecutively. After the first initial phase.
Yeah, we'll have authors from all the Baltic countries, Romania, Bulgaria, Serbia, Belarus, and Georgia as well. So it's going to be quite a diverse kind of crowd of experts. And we can see that Václav is trying to connect, but right now he's struggling. So we might have another one kind of join in just a minute here, if it's possible.
Yeah, but he's struggling because he's using some sort of...
online use, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
As
technology.
Always.
Technology. So key points, Galan.
Okay. So the overall point of the project, as I kind of wrote in the email, is we're going to be talking about democratic backsliding throughout Central and Eastern Europe. The issues would be rather diverse, but of course we do want to kind of focus on just the media, issues of just the judiciary, or any kind of broad subject that you want to present. The way this will kind of function is that each author will come up with a proposal for their article. And there will be like a rough draft or an outline that they would submit in English. This is not a polished piece at all. It's just kind of a rough idea of what you'd like to write about. And then after we get that and we just kind of say, sure, that's fine, you go ahead and you write the article actually in your native language. So for Martin and Rena, that would be in Czech, of course. And then what we will have is after that, we'll publish it in a publication in the Czech Republic. And then we will have that translated or rendered into English, edited, and then sent back to you for your approval or for any additions that you'd like to have.
What is important is that we need to keep in mind the objectives of the proposal and keep in mind strategic communication of the project itself. For the first thing, for the first item that I mentioned, this is about answering to the effects of disinformation in the region, meaning Russian disinformation mostly, but not only, whatever we see is an upcoming hoax. It's a conspiracy theory that is kind of getting embedded, or there is an effect in broader terms of boosting nationalism, boosting polarization. The aim of this project and the aim we put forward in front of the authors is to bring in arguments to stand against this tide and to speak in multiple voices, but in one direction, and strengthening democratic institutions in the region, strengthening democratic values, and speaking to national audiences using the arguments that you develop firsthand, but also because of the English language translation that you use from the other texts, from the network, from the number of texts that we're going to publish elsewhere. And for that, the English translation will be crucial. So the main arguments, as you will write the native language text, the English language text will be also very important for us because it will help to share among each other the arguments, examples of what is important. For the promotion, for the strategic communication year, we will brand it. We definitely want you to kind of be sure that while publishing, you also make a reference. I mean, it's a note that this is a Visegrad Insisght project, DemocraCE. This is the hashtag we want to use. And we have funds both for the authors, for the author fees, and for social media communication and promotion to boost this article in the social media space in a given country, and also to boost the readership of Visegrad Insisght English language pieces that we publish online.
Yeah, and some people had questioned about what would be the general topics, and as Wojciech just pointed out, quite a few of them. But to give you kind of more specific issues dealing with migration, xenophobia, or media integrity, that would be something that we definitely would like to focus on and highlight. Now, speaking about length, because I know a couple people had questions about length, we were thinking about 6,000 to 8,000 characters per article, which is between 2 and 4 pages, depending on what typeset you use and things like that. And
for that, we have a budget of about between $150 and $200
per article. Yeah. And ideally, I think it depends on which region, what country you come from, but we'd probably be expecting between 3 and 5 articles per author until, of course, December. So it's a long time for this to be kind of produced.
So that's this is a basic presentation, and more details will follow. But I think we need to take them. We need to have an individual approach, because country by country, or even author by author, the means and the ways and the channels of communication in the publishing platforms will differ. But that's the main idea. That's the main message we wanted to have you get acquainted with the project and our ideas, and we're happy to answer your questions and comments about it. Yeah. And just mind that this is recorded, so we will later disseminate this first webinar that we're doing, DemocraCE CEE, for all the other authors. And I think it's a fun way also, it's, at least for you guys, we don't see how much you smile right now, but it's a fun way even for us to tell about what we want to do, and to be most efficient in terms of using the not even a meeting but a webinar format of a video call format. So your question, Irena, Martin.
If I may.
Yeah.
How to start with a very practical thing? How did you make up the length of the article? Because if I imagine this written in Czech, this is practically unpublishable in daily press because it's too long for a Czech press.
Okay, okay, that's fine. I used the reference from Polish press, and we can adjust it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, for Visegrad Insisght, ideally it's 3,000 to 4,000 characters, so that would be just part of this article. But in Polish press, when you send an opinion piece or analysis, that the request that we're getting is usually between 6,000 and 8,000 characters. It's very okay if it's shorter. If it's shorter, provided that it's it is of op-ed quality or analysis quality for.
Because also from the practical reason of the readers, they like to have a long and in-depth articles, but not so many of them. So if I imagine to disseminate this in Czech environment, this is simply long enough for the special, Saturday supplements, intellectual, but not for a daily use. So
right.
That's
so it's again about the channels of communication, and it's about the liberty. We say about big number.
For example, my second question was, which is tied to that, is how would you like to choose the local participants or local media which will republish these articles, and how would you like to cooperate with them?
So
because if I practically imagine that I will get, I don't know, from this article, a Polish one from this project, and I will offer it to my colleagues here, they will simply refuse it because it's too long.
Yeah. Listen, again, about the length, this is negotiable. This is something we imagine that could fit, but then depending on the media that you work with usually, that is absolutely negotiable. For some that might be. We say this is the length because this is what we imagine is typically the kind of our standard fee and standard rate. We won't be going lower than this $150 perhaps.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense for to have a good in-depth article, even a shorter one. But answering your question about what sort of partners, media platform do we want to choose? Our first choice, we have a list of these platforms, and we made an initial evaluation. But the most important thing is about the authors that we picked, and we want to encourage them to use their best contacts and connections to the media they have. Also, we have some sort of, we are looking for center right or center left authors who would be closer to the center of the spectrum, and therefore their arguments would be acceptable and welcomed, not only just by one side of the polarized debate. That's also part of the aims of the project, not to polarize debate more, but to strengthen the center and bring understanding and belief and trust in the institution of a debate. So you take sides, which is fine. Which is absolutely fine. We encourage that, but we don't want this to be radically on one or on the other side. And for that, we think that it's best to negotiate with individual authors and to talk about what sort of media they would pick and negotiate with us. And then we are also getting in touch with editors of those media to introduce the concept, to make an arrangement and agreement with them that they would be able to receive free of charge texts, good op-eds by good authors, as you are. And we will pay for them, and we only ask for putting the references that will allow us to promote them. So that's a win-win game for them, maybe double win, because not only that we help them get content, good quality content of great authors, but we will also help to advertise and to promote their these texts and bring up their visibility and readership for those articles.
So did we answer your question then about length?
Yeah, yes, but the only another practical remark which I can imagine in my case, for example, is that I'm prohibited to publish in other Czech media, which is kind of competition to to my media. So
No,
this
I
also
think,
must be taken somehow into account. I don't know if the others.
we
will have the
take that
same
into
problem.
account. But first of all, are you not allowed to publish elsewhere beyond Czech Republic, which is also it's not.
No.
You're forbidden to publish outside of Czech Republic, or
No.
So what? Yeah.
This is about the local market. So
yeah.
you have kind of a little bit strict rules about the.
So first of all, we can imagine, and we imagine that we can have some sort of a deal about this cooperation, if you wish, with Hospodářské noviny. But also, we would encourage you, especially you who are also very close to the Visegrad Insisght team as editor of our magazine, to suggest the topics and articles, and not as the core activity within the project, but as maybe one of these 5 articles to propose something in external press elsewhere when you have a good topic. Polish press to publish it, I don't know, in Dziennik or Rzeczpospolita, and we could help to facilitate that, to also make this debate international. The focus would be, again, the focus of most of these articles would be domestic market by domestic authors, but also it's important for us that we would encourage you from time to time, make the effort, make the exercise cross-border as well. No, but strictly speaking, answering yours, very specific situation in Martin's case. I don't believe we have
the only one in the group with this problem.
Sorry?
I may be the only one with.
Yeah. This is what I wanted to say. That actually this is only in your case that we have. An editor of a great daily, of a press outlet, media outlet, that is part of the team. But it might happen on the way that we actually have more people like that. As we said, it's 17 now, 17
right
authors, and we want to go up to about 50.
Yeah, eventually. So are there any other questions, Irena? Or?
Yeah, well, maybe concerning the topics, I don't know if you will send us the list of some suggested ideas, or if it's really up to us to choose a topic which will somehow, of course, talk to the main idea of fake news and how to face it. That's probably one question. And second question, concerning the media. So my question is, we are aiming at printed media, I suppose. And if that's the case, yeah, because I know that in the Czech Republic, it's somehow becoming more and more difficult as an outsider to get, a solid commentary to a daily press. I was publishing or writing quite extensively before I started my PhD, and it wasn't a problem. And now, I realize that the situation has changed a bit, and that they have their own authors, and so I don't know. So if we are aiming at a printed press, so in that case, it may be a little bit harder really to get some longer articles, commentaries published.
Yeah, we understand that, and we see that also in the Polish market and other markets as well, that simply they have less space. Every paper magazine or newspaper has less space, and that is fine. And overall, that would be fantastic, and we should aim at suggesting to the press, this is what we're going to do, and we have some good contacts here in Poland where we actually suggest topics, we suggest and we push them out, and so far we've been quite successful with several outlets like that. Simply they are welcoming such articles when they don't need to pay for them. That's also important. What is important at the same time is that we have actually means to promote this. So we're looking and we're encouraging the text to be published online. So we have a link that we can put on social media. And regarding the topics, okay, we may have a longer discussion about it, but I just wanted to point out that fake news and kind of shooting into the direction everybody else is already, writing about, this is not so much the case of this project. When we want to deal with the effects of disinformation, it's not that we want to point to Russia, describe the technology, describe the techniques, and say how bad the situation is. To the contrary, we want to encourage and to show success stories in an interesting way, not a naive generalization, but success stories of how people are building up commitment, improve how they can avoid the traps of fake news. So how to strengthening the message that is reinforcing. It's a countermeasure, but not by identifying the threats and problems, but reinforcing the institutional, not bricks and steel and glass institutions, but the institutional institutions of public debate, institution of press in democracy, institution of compromise, institution of mutual respect as the ways to move forward away from the problems and hurdles of today's world. Right?
Yeah, and for specific topics, we are open though. I mean, so if you have an idea, that's the whole point of the first part where you can send a draft.
Sure.
Yeah, because if you have an idea that we haven't thought of or it's coming from a different angle, that's very interesting to us. We can go for that. So we are pretty open to that.
And we will suggest you, as we have been suggesting you topics like Irena, you can expect from us suggestions for your favorite topics like Israel and Central Europe. And with Martin, I'm sure we will speak mostly about international affairs and business, kind of what works actually. I know it's a difficult topic for a journalist. Always, it's more difficult. This is why we want to also make it, somehow rewarded with some fee. But it's rewarding also for the audience to read something that's, as we did with New Europe 100, which is a success story that or some story that reinforces belief. We can make it. We can do it. And we're gonna go through the difficult times when. Everybody is like puzzled and doesn't know and is irritated about everything and is also misinformed.
And we, of course, we're encouraging kind of collaboration or something like authors to work together at least when they're speaking on similar topics. To give an example of when, like, if Raina, if you come up with a topic that's interesting and then we publish it in English, if somebody from Bulgaria or a different author that we're with reads the article and then is inspired to write about a similar topic, that's great. We're encouraging that because we're trying to foster the debate a little bit. So if you come up with a topic that you think is good, please shoot it over. We'd be more than happy. Okay.
Speaking of timeline, the project already began.
Yeah.
So we will be asking you after this conversation, after perhaps you also listen and watch this conversation, at least us two on this side of the camera, to bring up a list of topics and possible media and your preferred timeline. Which will help us enormously to put you in the pipeline and to organize our work and to organize the work with specific editorial teams.
For promotion and for everything.
So if you can do it by the end of this week, then it's perfect for us because we can collect it and we can distribute it further. What we can also do, I guess we can create a common one-page document or email summaries.
Yeah.
So we will have collective communication with summaries of the topics that you want to pick up. Because if one person wants to pick a topic in one country and give an angle to it, then the others are very much encouraged to do a very similar one in the other countries, or to do something else that gets
or from a different angle,
and got inspired. So this is our Visegrad Inside editorial work that we want to make a project of national debates in the region.
All right. Does that seem possible, do you think, by the end of the week?
Martin, especially question to you.
No.
Just
No, but no. Whatever you shoot us with, really by
But is this list final or
no? This is
Can,
not like.
can I
Don't
just
think of it.
update it?
No, think of it. What would you, if you wanted, and if you were, supposed to be a author for next week or next 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
What would be the themes that you would like to put your thinking and writing to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Because of the calendar, because of the events, and sometimes we will simply know that there is something coming up, and we will address this topic to you. We'll ask you for your commentary, your op-ed, and we'll try to make it, and we'll give it a push and publication in the media. Hmm?
All right.
Great. We are excited about this. This is actually
so this is a new way. This is a transformation of Visegrad Insisght to an online platform.
Mm-hmm.
We're very grateful we got this grant, and we are actually looking for more money to continue with this format, to transform the website, and to, on top of it, to publish the magazine as we have been doing for the last 6 years. Yeah,
great.
I think it's really great.
Oh, great. Excellent.
I have a question. Can I also come up with some suggestions for names? Like if you said that you want to have more authors, so just, to just give you an idea, and then you decide if you want this person or not.
Absolutely. We're completely open to that.
Because we gathered partly analytical and very informed team, but we're also looking, for people who are unlikely or surprising choices, if you may. If you come up with someone that is, a very successful investor, we'll reach out to part of the New Europe 100 team. We will we'll look also for some artists, actors, people from the entertainment world, very much so. That's, not a majority perhaps, but also people who have authority, and they can transfer this authority in written form to arguments about democracy and state of affairs in Central Europe. And I don't mean Mr. Stropnicki here, Martin, for your information.
Which one?
No, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. No.
Sure.
Okay.
We also have one very successful businessman who just became or want to be a prime minister.
Yes,
so this is also a success story. So you may address him too.
Right. I think we have again on the list of New Europe 100 a couple of guys who are way more successful and way more devoted to fighting actually this anti-value politic that Mr. Babiš represents. So. What is it? A bit maybe controversial, but I think Karel Janeček, is he one of the guys who is a successful entrepreneur, and he starts different initiatives to actually make the
this DemocraCE 2.0 or something like that. So,
things like that. That's fine. I don't say we need to go to him, but guys also like him, absolutely.
Yeah, we're very open though. Yeah.
Martin?
Perfect.
I'm sorry, I wasn't following that. I was just solving some other issue. Okay, so you want, if I sum it up, you want some topics, not necessarily that I will write them, but just as a suggestions where I should start or where to go in the area of fighting the kind of fake news and other things. And you also want suggestions for the names of the people who can write for us these topics.
Yes, also.
Because I have already one topic which is quite important. I don't know how to approach it.
Sure.
But I'm, as a father, I'm thinking about it every day. This is media literacy education.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is transnational issue everywhere in our region, everywhere in the West and in the East. And I would suggest that this might be one of the things, because you can then reach out to the teachers also, which is another big group which is really fighting with this phenomena, not only in terms of fake news, but in general. So this might be one of the
that's great.
You can have
really
a lot
good
of cross-border cooperation.
Yeah, we actually have a couple of names in Europe 100 who are doing this, who are fighting for media and literacy, so we can come up with names. And this is how it should work. I mean, this is about creating with you the content, but also creating the pool of ideas and pool of authors for later.
Great. Very good idea.
Yeah. Guys, we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch later. We will send you the summary and the video. We'll distribute it also to other participants. And we're beginning a great new project within Visegrad Insisght platform that will boost very likely both our work and generate transnational debate in the region, and and the visibility of the great ideas and great minds behind them. So
thank you for joining us. We do really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. It sounds really interesting.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Very happy. Great. We'll be in touch very soon.
We'll be in touch.
Sure.
Galen will be the main person to get in touch and to manage it, and as managing editor of Visegrad Insisght. And I'll be supervising, but also directing some of the themes and topics. So you can expect to be in touch with both of us.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Really appreciate the call.
Have a nice afternoon.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.